Ever wondered what it was really like to walk the streets of ancient Rome? Forget the epic battles and political drama for a moment. Let's dive into the day-to-day hustle and bustle of a typical Roman. What did they eat? Where did they work? And how did they have fun? Let's find out. The Roman day started early, at dawn. Forget your fancy avocado toast. A typical Roman breakfast, orientaculum, was super light. Think a piece of bread, maybe some cheese or fruit. And that's it, just enough to get you going. After that, it was straight to work. The city would come alive. The forums and markets would be absolutely buzzing with activity. Merchants sold their goods, craftsmen hammered away in their workshops, and farmers brought their produce into the city. For the upper-class Roman man, the morning was for business and politics. He would hold a salutatio, a formal reception where clients would visit his home to ask for favors and show their respect. It was all about networking. Evan bucked in. What about the kids? Well, life was very different, depending on whether you were rich or poor. If you came from a wealthy family, as a boy, you'd head off to school to learn reading, writing, and arithmetic. Girls, on the other hand, were usually taught at home, learning the skills they'd need to manage a household. But for poor children, there was no school. They started working from a very young age to help support their families. As the afternoon rolled in, the workday was mostly over. And this is where Roman life gets really interesting. It was time for leisure. The number one destination? The public baths, or thermae. These weren't just places to get clean. They were massive social complexes with hot and cold pools, gyms, libraries, and even gardens. People from all social classes would go to the baths to exercise, relax, and catch up on the latest gossip. It was the social media of the ancient world. If you weren't at the baths, you were probably seeking some high-octane entertainment. Romans loved their spectacles. You could head to the Circus Maximus to watch thrilling chariot races, with massive crowds cheering for their favorite teams. Or, for something more intense, you'd go to the Colosseum to watch gladiatorial games. It's brutal to our modern senses, but for the Romans, this was prime-time entertainment, and for lunch. Most people grabbed a quick bite from a thermopolium, which was basically an ancient Roman fast food counter serving hot food and drinks. As the sun began to set, Romans headed home for the main meal of the day, cena, or dinner. And here, the massive gap between the rich and the poor was on full display. A poor family living in a cramped apartment building called an insula would have a simple meal maybe, some porridge, beans, bread, and vegetables. These insulae were often poorly built, crowded, and dangerous. Meanwhile, in a luxurious private home called a domus, a wealthy Roman's dinner was an extravagant affair. We're talking multiple courses, exotic foods, flowing wine, and entertainment like musicians and dancers, all served by a small army of slaves. After dinner, families would spend time together, maybe playing board games or telling stories before turning in for the night, ready to do it all again the next day. So, from the simple tunic worn by the common man to the formal toga of a senator, from private prayers at a home altar to massive public festivals, everyday life in Rome was a fascinating mix. It was a world of stark contrasts, where the lives of the rich and poor were worlds apart. Yet everyone was connected by the shared rhythm of the city, its public spaces, and its unique culture. It really makes you think about how different, and in some ways, how similar our daily routines are today. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this glimpse into ancient Rome, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next historical deep dive. See you in the next video.